with the Muskegon Heights Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Incorporated. And we are so happy to be partnered with 103.7 The Beat to provide this informative event where we're welcoming candidates from the city of Muskegon and Muskegon Heights. I am acting currently in the absence of our president, which is Brianna Scott. We are so happy you all are here and really engaged in this very important election that will take place in November. So before we get started, we would like to have a word of prayer. So I'm going to call Reverend Kai Guy up to give us a word of prayer, and then he will pass it on to Brandon, who will moderate for us this evening. Thank you.
Hard crowd, all right. Y'all didn't even give a hand clap. All right, let's pray. Father, we thank you, we love you, we honor you, we bless your name. We thank you so much for this day. We thank you for this time. Thank you for this moment. Thank you for everybody that's here. Thank you for grace and peace. Thank you, God. We love you, we honor you, we bless your name. It is in your son Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Our moderator for tonight is, you know the moderator. He's the moderator for tonight. He will give us all the instructions that we need. He holds a couple hats. He is one of our city's best attorneys, and he is also the executive pastor at the Church of the Living God right here in our city. Let's give it up for Mr. Reverend Brandon Davis.
Good evening, everyone. While we in church, I want to say praise the Lord, everybody. Okay, go ahead. Praise the Lord, everybody. Good evening, everyone. Listen, I'm so grateful for the opportunity to moderate tonight's event. Can we give it up for the Muskegon Heights Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta, and to Pastor Kai Guy for opening his doors tonight, and to each and every one of you for being here tonight. Come on, clap for yourself. It's so important that we remain civically engaged. So tonight, our goal is to make sure that everyone gets the answers to the questions that they may have, right? We want to be informed voters so we can make the right choices for our community. Amen? Amen. All right, so here's how we're going to do this. We've divided tonight into 3 categories. We will hear from those running for commissioner in the city of Muskegon first. After we do that, in fact, since I'm saying that, those of you who are here running in that space, you can come on up and grab your spots. And then after we do that, we will move on to Heights City Council candidates. And after we do Heights City Council candidates, we will then hear from the Heights mayoral candidates. Everyone understand how we're going to do it? All right, so a few things. We have some prepared questions that we'll ask, but we also want to give you all the opportunity to have your questions asked. But the way we're doing that is by having you write down your questions on index cards. So there's the members of Delta Sigma Theta have index cards. What we need you to do, you don't have to identify yourself, but you do need to identify the category that you're asking the question in. So if you want to ask questions of the commissioner candidates, write that at the top of the card. The council candidates, write that. The mayoral candidates, write that there. Everyone following me so far? All right, we'll try to get to the majority of the questions, but the way we'll do that is we will read them, and if they seem similar, we may combine them or they may change just a little bit, but we will get to the majority of it. We also have a wonderful timekeeper. Hey, timekeeper, if Dewana is over there. So here's how we're going to do that. At the beginning of each question, we'll announce how much time we have for it, meaning how much time the candidate has to answer the question. We will respect the time that's given tonight. So if you go over your time, we're going to stop you. Amen. Amen, right? We want to make sure everyone is able to hear everybody. So you'll hear the iPhone ring. That'll be your first clue. But if you don't stop then, I will stop. All right. So we'll give you the opportunity to do that. We're going to start by giving each of you 2 minutes to introduce yourselves and explain why you chose to run for Muskegon commissioner. All right. So we will start at this end of the table. Please introduce yourself. Make sure we got you.
Good evening. I am Destiny Keener Sargent, or Destiny Keener on my boards, and I am a lifelong resident of the city of Muskegon. Grew up in the Urban League offices. A lot of you all know my great-grandmother, Darlene Townsend. She employed many youth around here, as well as Mabel Peterson, who also was a great individual in this community. I am running because I just have a love for service and a love for people. And some of my most important initiatives are I desire to ensure that our city government is transparent and accountable to its citizens. Tax dollars are spent wisely, and that our city is a place where everyone feels welcomed and valued. I will be a minority voice at the table for the largely underrepresented and more often than not overlooked and excluded minorities in this community. I will not be afraid and have not been. I sit on the Planning and Zoning Committee currently for the city of Muskegon and have done so for almost 2 years. And I'm never afraid to voice my opinions, especially when it comes as it relates to our community as a whole. I desire to work with fellow commissioners and city staff in engaging citizens to develop the understanding of the roles of the committees and the responsibilities of these committees, as well as listen to and enact citizen review subcommittees that meet the needs and desires and concerns of Muskegon residents. I just really look forward to being that voice and being that voice that really makes a difference at the table. Hello.
All right.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jeanette Burke-Ward, and I'm running for Commissioner Ward 2. I am a lifelong resident of Muskegon downtown. I grew up on Walter Street, right in front of Bulldog Alley, if anybody knew about that. And after that, we moved on McLaughlin, right behind Angel School. And I'm running to be the voice of Muskegon people for our community. I want to bring more diversity. I want people to have homes to live in. And I feel like if we have jobs, and, to create more jobs, we'll have a more level playing field so people can be homeowners. It's okay for people who want to rent homes, that's all good. But if you have a homestead, I think it's better for our community that you have an investment. I also like to bring more jobs, try to attract jobs here so that we can have good paying jobs for people of all education levels. I am a mother of 3 grown children. I've been married to my husband Douglas for over 30 years. He moved here from Milwaukee and he found home. He loves here in Muskegon. So I love my community. I have created programs, beautification programs, and I want to get information to our citizens. If we have different grants or if we have opportunities for fixing our homes up, we need to know that information so that we can utilize that and build our community. So that's a little bit about me. Thank you.
Testing. Good evening, everyone. My name is Willie German Jr., and I am currently serving as Vice Mayor for the City of Muskegon. And I've been on the commission 12 years. A little bit about me. I grew up in Muskegon, with Muskegon High School, graduated in 80. I went to Baker College. I received a bachelor's degree in business. I received my master's degree from Western Michigan University. Also, an engineering certification in computer network. I am a DEI certified, and also am a certified civil mediator. The reason why I'm running, as serving as the Vice Mayor for the City of Muskegon, it is a pleasure and an honor to have served for 12 years. I'm a man of faith, led by God, and my leadership consists of honesty, trust, transparency, integrity, and fortitude to make tough decisions. Not one of those commissioners that go along just to get along. So you have to be able to make those tough decisions and stand up for what's right. I oversee Ward 2, which includes the Angel neighborhood, the Nelson neighborhood, the Jackson Hill, and McLaughlin part of the downtown. The economy and economic development over the last 12 years is a factual example of what you have seen in Muskegon and growth under my leadership. And I want to continue to do that if elected November 7th, 2023. I ask for your support. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Jake Kilgo. I'm not from Muskegon. I grew up in Grand Rapids. I know this is a where you're from town, but I have grown to love this town. I've been in Muskegon for almost 19 years, and I absolutely love our community as a whole, Muskegon and Muskegonites. I'm a real estate broker here in Muskegon. I'm also the president of our local NARAB chapter. NARAB is the National Association of Real Estate Brokers, which is the oldest Black trade association in the country. It is the professional network, it's the premier network for Black real estate professionals. I chose to run for city commissioner for Ward 1 in the city of Muskegon because there's no candidates on our ballot. Brother Eric Hood, who's the current commissioner of Ward 1, is retiring from city commission, which leaves a blank spot on the ballot. If no candidates were to run, the mayor can appoint whoever he wants to appoint to that seat, and I don't want that to happen. I don't want us to lose a Black voice on city commission. Muskegon is 32% Black. The city of Muskegon is 32% Black. Our commission should represent that also. I just have a heart for the people. The things that I'm running on are community engagement. I want the community to know what's happening downtown. I want them to know what's happening in these city commission meetings and not look up and see something that's happened.
Time, thank you. All right, can we give them all a hand? One more. All right, so this time we're going to start with Ms. Jeanette. And the question we're going to ask is, what is the largest or the biggest issue that's currently facing the city of Muskegon, and what will you do to address it?
The biggest, is that what you meant?
Yes, the most significant issue facing the city of Muskegon, and what will you do to address it if elected? And I will also add, if you're a current commissioner, we want to hear what you have done to address it.
The biggest to me would be jobs. You mean like economically?
Whatever area you want to speak to.
Jobs, is one of our biggest issues downtown in Muskegon. We don't have jobs that would create income and opportunity for people to live in homes or get homes built. And I think if we had more jobs, it would stop a lot of crime that goes along with it. It would give people more pride to be a part of their community and be involved, and they could even build businesses or really dangerous things. I feel like we need to attract more jobs in Muskegon.
Okay, that last minute, because we're going to do 2 minutes for this question, what will you do to address it? How will you attract those jobs?
I would like to work with our state representatives to see if they could bring more jobs our way, because I see different battery plants and stuff that's going into different other counties. So I would like to work with them one-on-one to see if they could attract more. If we can attract designers and people that build homes and build businesses here, we should be able to attract different economical jobs to come here for our community.
Thank you. Commissioner, we'll turn to you, same question. What is the most significant issue that's currently facing the city of Muskegon? What have you done and what will you do to address it?
Thank you for that question. One of the most significant issues in Muskegon right now is homelessness, housing, a huge issue. And also we have a gun violence issue as well. As commissioner and vice mayor over the last 12 years, I have advocated to make sure that we receive and have affordable housing. As you know, right now, if you take a drive downtown, you see a lot of new development in the neighborhoods, new housing. That's part of that infill housing project. But not only that, we were using opera dollars that the city received from the federal government that was issued to the state. So we're looking at about $350 billion that came from the federal government. We utilized about $5 million to start and spearhead this project. The only issue was we wanted to make sure, as myself as a commissioner, to make sure that it was equitable, to make sure everyone was able to afford housing, and that was not the case. So we had to put measures in order to make sure this happened. So we started with some LIHTC program, that's low income tax credits. So where you come in, they build these homes, and then there's an option to have someone that's making roughly $40,000, $30,000 to be able to afford these homes, stuff like that. So what I've done over the last 12 years is bring developers to the table, Black contractors, picked by hand, because the cities claimed that there were no Black contractors. So that's how you, again, boost your economic development. Also, place people in affordable housing. So that's what I've done throughout my 12 years and continue to do that as we continue to move Muskegon forward into development.
Thank you. Mr. Kilgore, any questions, please?
Thank you. And I commend Vice Mayor Jarman on doing things like picking Black contractors, because we need more Black contractors. We need more Black developers. Development in Muskegon is thriving, but it doesn't just need to be concentrated on the lake shore and the $1 million projects that are coming to the lake shore. It also needs to be in the neighborhoods. We need to see more affordable housing. I addressed the commission yesterday at City Commission meeting and told them that education is such a big part of that. We can say that we have affordable housing for the people in Muskegon, but we're not educating first-time homebuyers on how they can buy these homes. How is it helping? We have people that do have a good job or have a good income, but they have no idea where to start. And some of the money can be spent to educate people on how they can get into these homes. So one of the issues I definitely think is affordable housing and the sustainability of the economic growth, not just building to build, because I also do think that jobs are important, but things like educating our young people on the trades so they can help build some of these houses that are being built in the city of Muskegon.
Thank you. Next, any questions?
A passion that is near and dear to me is the housing crisis. I started Family Promise when its inception came in, and it's almost been like almost 15 years now, well, almost 15 years. And I was able to take a program that allowed for intact families, because that's a big issue, is when you have a family, you have a 15-year-old child, and you happen to have suffered with homelessness, and you have to be completely divided. That divides the family just totally, that divides your mental totally. And so these are things that we really need to look at. I was looking at young women coming in, staying in their cars, and you walk in the woods now. There are actually tents in the woods now. Homelessness has been a consistent issue in the city of Muskegon. I do believe that some things that could be done in our community are zones for mixed income housing, where development of truly affordable housing at a market rate are invested in the same neighborhoods that they're doing along the lake shore. I believe that individuals who are making, decent incomes, 2 household incomes, that you should be able to live on the lake shore if you want to. There should be affordable housing on those lake shores. Also providing tax breaks and other initiatives for developers to build affordable housing, creating community land trusts to acquire and preserve affordable housing units, providing rental assistance to low-income households, enacting rent control measures that prevent landlords from raising rents excessively, invest in maintenance and repairs of current public housing. They did an article about Phillips School a couple of years ago, and when you went in on those homeless people in there, they made that their home. And instead of taking what they already had, putting services in there, rehabbing that, allowing those individuals to stay there and build upon what they were already. Sorry.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Pastor, come on, give them all a hand for the This question we're going to start with Commissioner Dermott, or Vice Mayor Dermott. We also want you to take the time to make sure you're giving us multiple examples of this question. So let's talk through it. So in the city of Muskegon, there's no doubt there has been an economic boom. We see new developments, we see downtown changing, but there is a sentiment from community that these developments don't help Black businesses, they don't help Black residents, they continue to help the white members of the community. What will you do or have you done to ensure that there's diversity and inclusion in the economic efforts throughout the city of Muskegon? And how do you make sure the community members understand that?
All right, thank you for that question, Mr. Davis. And that is so true. You do see a massive development going on through the city of Muskegon. Muskegon, my ward, Ward 2 that I oversee, is one of the most diverse wards it is. You have the lake front, which you have your opportunity zones, and then within the city, with the infill housing projects, you have these opportunity zones. Now, as a commissioner, I've advocated over the years to make sure that once we start our downtown, and the key to any city is a robust downtown to bring in the economics. Not only does it bring in economics, it brings in a tax base to help sustain the city. So you want to make sure that's strong. Now, you start to develop within your communities and the neighborhoods, fixing the streets to make sure that there's housing and affordable housing for everyone. As a commissioner, I had to bring members and developers that were from minority backgrounds to the table to have a seat. Because if you don't have a voice or at the seat, at the table, you can't voice your opinion, or you won't be able to say what it is that you want to see for your city. So given that said, that made the city be more inclusive, more accepting to want to work with minority developers. And if you look on the Leonard Street off of Getty, you see some development from Rudy Briggs, which is a Black contractor. I brought in Lawrence Baker, I brought in Bruce Williams, and there's also some other Black developers. Also, I initiated the social equity program for the marijuana industry to have Black.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Kilgore, same question.
Thank you for your question. So your question was, in the city, there's an economic boom. What will I do to make sure there's more diversity? First and foremost, be open and transparent with the citizens of Muskegon. The city of Muskegon actually does not have a bank in the city of Muskegon. There are credit unions all over. There's not a bank in the city. And in my ward, Ward 1, Apple Street, Getty, there's room to bring in a bank, and I would like to actually reach out to some of my contacts so we can work on bringing a bigger name bank to the city of Muskegon. Then small business owners can work with that bank, because there's also the prices downtown are skyrocketing because of the development that's going on downtown. But there are other places in our city that if there's a small business owner and they want a brick and mortar business, there are ways and grants and funds for them to open a business and open a storefront, so we can bring more minority businesses, storefront minority businesses to the city. Or someone who has a business and it's just out of their garage or out of their basement, they can bring it to the forefront. And there is retail or commercial real estate available that's more affordable, that's not in the heart of downtown, Western Avenue type downtown. So we can build in the city of Muskegon, and it not just be downtown. There are other places around the city where we can grow. I would love to continue to help educate business owners on how they can see their visions come to fruition, and work with city council in ways that we can help more small business owners. Because small business owners also bring jobs. Yes, big businesses bring jobs too, but small businesses also bring jobs. So those are some of the things I definitely would do to see more diversity.
Thank you. Destiny, we're going to turn to you, and I'll repeat the question to make sure we're on the same page. So there's been an economic boom in the city of Muskegon, but many Muskegon residents feel as if that boom has not included Black and brown businesses. What would you do or have you done to encourage diversity and inclusion in those spaces, and how will you communicate that to our residents? And that's a two-minute question again.
So this is a tough one for me, because I've been in that position of being downtown and getting booted out from downtown, and not having any kind of support, while watching the city of Muskegon bail out numerous restaurants down there repeatedly. I do have knowledge that there were funds that come into the city specifically for minorities, especially for minority women, and those funds were utilized for our white brothers and sisters. So these are things where there's like I said, I'm not afraid to talk about these things and talk with my fellow commissioners and being transparent to the community about these things. But another thing that we must do is invest in small business, because small business does make the world go round. You have to, city is a business, and we have to have those big businesses as well. But at the same time, the developers that come in, and I've watched this firsthand, me and my husband have watched this firsthand, the developers that come in downtown to build those, even those businesses, they don't come from here. They come from Grand Rapids, they come from South Bend, they come from Benton Harbor. They don't spend their dollars here with the small businesses, they don't eat lunch here, they don't go to our grocery stores. So these are things that we need to really look at as a whole, as not only a commission, but as a community, and ensuring that those dollars are getting turned right back over, just like any other community does. And the Asians do it, the Jewish community does it. And those are things that we need to be able to make sure our community does as well. And additionally, there should be funds available for these small businesses. There are really no funds available, but if you're the bigger business, or if you're tight in with somebody down there, then you're gonna get that funding and you're gonna be top on the list. Another thing that we can look at too is some of these.
Thank you.
There is a lot of economical growth downtown. And how I know that, because I sit on the DDA and I see it comes in front of me. I'm also the vice president of our Jackson Hill Neighborhood Association. And I do know that there is funds available, but if I was commissioner, I would make sure that my community knew what kind of funds was available and that they could apply for different grants, as we did in our Jackson Hill neighborhood. As soon as the ARPA grant came out, we actually had someone to write our grant out, and we're going to disperse that money into our neighborhood. There was up to $250,000 that everyone in our community was available to get. A lot of people did not find out about that until it was 2 days before they could apply for that money. Now, in my opinion, I feel that if I'm sitting there and I'm knowing all this information and it's privy to me and I work for my community, it is up to me to make sure that every neighborhood association, social media, somehow, word of mouth, know about these so that we can invest and open up our businesses, because we need the heart of Muskegon to work too. It's beautiful all around the lake shore. Yeah, they're doing a whole lot of good things, but if you don't get down into your Wood Street that connects all the way from the Heights to downtown, then you know what? They're not gonna make it. You know, we have to have our jobs, we have to have our education, and we have to work together as a community. We're just as good as anybody else. When people come to my home and ask me for different things to go down there and help with the city, I go down and do it as a citizen, and I try to get some kind of response. And if I can get a response, because my house was built in the infield program on Jackson Hill 20 years ago. And if I believe in home ownership, and I think that it's a wonderful thing to invest, because later on, my house, when I got it, was $64,000. It's worth over $300 now, but truly it isn't, y'all. It's a lot of work. But, you know, different incentives like that.
Thank you. Don't come on, give them a hand one more time. All right, we're wrapping up this part of our debate tonight. So we have a 1-minute question, and this is an audience question. Please tell us your familiarity with Pioneer Resources and whether or not you would vote to support them. And if you're a current commissioner, whether or not you have. Again, please tell us your familiarity with Pioneer Resources, whether or not you'll vote to support them, and if you're a current commissioner, whether or not you have voted to support them financially. Mr. Phillips.
Yeah, I'm not super familiar with Pioneer Resources, so I would love to get more information about Pioneer Resources. Because I'm not super familiar with them, I wouldn't say if I support or not support them. I'd love to get more information about Pioneer Resources.
Thank you.
Pioneer Resources has been a staple in this community for those that are disadvantaged and disabled for a very, very long time. Has provided transportation, has provided educational resources, and very vital, especially to a lot of parents who have older children that are aging out and are turning in, are senior citizens themselves. They're very, very vital for that crowd, that community right there. What are we supporting here? just the,
In general, financial support,
it's one of those necessary things, because that's a community that is not always financially set. And grants, they do run off of a lot of grants and need those grants to continue their programming.
thank you.
I know about Pioneer Resources. I've worked at Kennedy, which Pioneer Resources brought different people of different disabilities to work every day. They have been a resource around here as long as I know, and I would definitely support Pioneer Resources.
Thank you.
Yes, I'm familiar with Pioneer Resources and the work that they've done in the community, working with citizens, people with disabilities, transportation. In that aspect, yes, I would support them. Now, Pioneer Resources did come in front of the commission just recently, because part of the opera grant that Ms. Burke was talking about is what I initiated for everyone to get funding. That's how they got that funding, through my initiative, making sure every neighborhood association, every minority business, every startup nonprofit business receives some type of funding. Not businesses that was well established with big names. That was not the case when it came back in front of us. So I just want to say, for anything such as supporting a Pioneer Resource initiative to help to keep that business open and running, I could support it. But not on the topic that they brought in front of us, which was making a trail in back of that property that they wanted to do. I could not support that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, so we are now at our last question, and the last thing we're gonna ask you to do is to take 2 minutes and to essentially give your pitch, explain to the people in this room why they should vote for you, what qualifies you for the position you're running for, and anything else you want to say in that last 2 minutes. We're gonna go in reverse order, so we'll start with you, Mr. Kilbo.
Thank you. Don't vote for me just because I'm asking for your vote. I really want to be a staple for the community. I want to be transparent with the community. I want to hear from the people and what the people want in the community, and then bring that to city council. Right now, like I said, there's 0 candidates on the ballot. So if you don't live in Ward 1, you may know someone who lives in Ward 1. I have a map here, so anybody can see me afterwards. I'll show you the outlines of Ward 1. But essentially, Marquette down to about Forest, Getty, over the highway. That's Ward 1. There's a right-wing candidate that's also a right-wing candidate. And like I said, I want us to keep a voice in city council, and I'd like to be that voice for city council and fight for the people. Thank you.
It's been 12 long years. When I first got on the commission, there was nothing happening downtown. There were no houses in the neighborhood that you see now. On my watch, you see a substantial growth, and I want to continue that. You can't teach experience, and you can't buy it. You have to have someone in there that knows the logistics of local government, because this is a business, and you have to run it like a business. You have to have someone in government that has the fortitude to make the tough decisions, and to listen to the people and engage the community is what I've done for like the last 12 years. So if re-elected, I will continue to engage the community, make sure that everyone's included, as I've done throughout my seat on that commission, and make sure that our youth are safe, the communities are safe, our lakes are safe and protected through all this development, and make sure developers comply with codes, to make sure that they comply with codes that could damage our community. So if elected again, I'll just say I will continue to be transparent, honest, and taking the courage to lead Muskegon. Thank you.
Thank you. Any question?
If I am elected, I promise to be your voice and work for you and listen to you and encourage you to stand behind me and make the city a part of you. as a commissioner, it's your voice that we listen to. It's your city, your taxes, and you deserve to be a part of it. So if I'm there, I would want you to be a part of me and be a part of you, and so that we can be at that table and know that we're strong, because in numbers we're strong. And if you remember how our communities was, we had pride. All of us had pride in everything we did, and we helped each other, and we grew each other's families. That's what I'm trying to bring back, that unity, to build that bridge. And I would never take credit for things that I did not do, because it's not about me, it's about us. So if I'm elected, I'm gonna be about you guys. Thank you.
If I'm elected, I desire to continue to be a voice for each and every citizen within my ward, each and every citizen in Muskegon. I don't mind standing up and saying what has to be said. I like to shake the vote. I like to shake the table. I don't mind it at all. I think that's very necessary. You can't always comply, and everybody can't always be happy. Additionally, as far as it comes to even things like form-based code, things like that are not fair. There's so many things I just see on the Planning and Zoning Committee I see as not fair. I call those things out as they are, and so be it. Who does not like it, so be it. And additionally, I just want to be that individual that you can speak through, that your voice is heard, your concerns are heard, enacting committees to where you can be part of government, being that person that shows you what committees that you should be on and part of. And I encourage, that's one big thing I do, I encourage individuals in the city of Muskegon, get on these boards, get on these committees, come to these meetings, so that you have a voice. Because I'm telling you, sometimes there are things that are done because they know that we are not available. And I want to be that voice. I want to be those eyes, those ears, and not the one that's just sitting there shaking hands. Because I'm telling you, I got so many calls. I've been scaring people a little bit. Because I got so many calls from developers, but that's not my thing. My thing is my city. The city that I love, the city I continue to love. And I'm just here to be your voice, your person, your bridge.
All right, come on, let's put our hands together one time for these gentlemen. Thank you all so much for coming out. It's important that we remember who shows up when it's time to speak to our community, right? Come on, clap one more time. All right, while we're doing that, we want to invite the candidates for the Muskegon Heights City Council up at this time. Again, all candidates for the Muskegon Heights City Council, please join us. If you have questions, again, there are index cards available. The members of DSP have those. You can fill out that card. Please write which category you are asking that question for and get those questions to us. So we want to make sure that your questions are answered. All right, in the interest of time, we're going to jump right in. So good evening to all four of you. I'm so grateful that you're here tonight. We want to give you the opportunity to introduce yourselves over, you have 2 minutes to do that, to introduce yourself and to explain why you are running for Muskegon Heights City Council. We'll start with you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Darius Mitchell, and I want to be your next city councilman. I'm running for city council because I want to be an active part in the transformation that's currently happening in our city, and I want to inspire others to do the same. Currently, I am the Chief Operating Officer of Shoreline Staffing, which is a minority-owned staffing agency that specializes in dealing with people who have felonies who deserve a second chance. I'm also the Vice Chair of the Muskegon County Democratic Black Caucus. I am the Vice Chair of the Muskegon Young Black Professionals. I am precinct delegate in Muskegon Heights, precinct number 2. I serve on the board of directors for Hackney Community Care, also on their finance committee. And last but not least, I am the only Black male teacher in the Muskegon Heights public school system. My focus for Muskegon Heights will be in public safety, education, infrastructure, and economic development. My approach to this position will be a grassroots approach, which means that I will be a people-first leader. I want the vote of the people, so I vow to be a leader for the people. So let's work together for a better Muskegon Heights. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Derek Collins. I am now on council. I'm asking for re-election. I've been married 38 years, been together 42 years to my wife. Lived in the Heights all my life. I love the Heights. I'm real dedicated to the Heights. I work for CWC, and I apologize to the beat and the young ladies because I didn't respond like I should have. I work at 2:45 in the morning, so it was gonna be hard for me to be here and go to work. So I apologize for not responding to you. My focus on re-election is the focus on the downtown of Muskegon Heights, beautification, redevelopment, and bring some of the stuff back downtown area, grocery stores, nightclubs, pharmacies, etc. I just ask for your vote, and I thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Dari Hines, and I'm running for City Council. Please elect me on November 7th. I was raised here in Muskegon Heights, lived here all my life, graduated from Heights in 1992. 5 years later, I was on the fire department for City of Muskegon Heights, where I served for 20 years. I left there and joined the state, where I am a corrections officer, and I've been there ever since. So service is kind of in me, which is why I want to run for City Council. I want to be able to bring my ideas and my energy to the city so that it's running correctly, so that I can engage the citizens and help to restore the city of Muskegon Heights to what it once was, and even move it beyond that. So November 7th, if you haven't already voted, please vote for me, and I will go to work for you. Thanks.
Good evening. My name is Vernell Smith. I previously served on the Muskegon Heights City Council from 2011 to 2019. In 19, I stepped down to get my health under control. During my absence, I was able to get some things under perspective and decided to run back for the Muskegon Heights City Council again. During my tenure with the Muskegon Heights City Council, we were able to complete phase 2 of the Moon Lake upgrades, fully staffed the fire department, in addition to hiring more police officers to the Detective Bureau grant funded program, corporation upgrades, quality tool staff, versatile fabrication. We also code enforcement of late night establishments concerning nuisance ordinance. And lastly, over $1 million in grants for blight elimination of homes and businesses considered to be unsafe and a nuisance to the community. I would like to just say, if you still have confidence in me to come back to serve the city of Muskegon Heights, I appreciate your vote on November 7th. Thank you.
All right, thank you for those answers. Our next question is, what is your plan to address the city's current budget situation and ensure responsible financial management? If you're currently serving on City Council, please explain what have you done to address that. Again, the question is, what is your plan to address the city's current budget and ensure responsible fiscal management? And we will start with you, Mr. Collins. That's a 2-minute question.
Well, first of all, everything goes through council. not just one person. So working on this budget, I have to sit down and make sure everything goes with the city manager. Then we go from there, it goes to council, we have to vote on a lot of things. My biggest focus on, it was last year and this year, if I'm reelected, we need a grant writer. That's our biggest problem, we don't have a grant writer. And we need to focus on getting a grant writer to help us out with our streets, help us find business to come into our city. And we go from that point. It's 5 of us plus the mayor, so we need to all agree on working together on this budget. It's not an easy task. It's very hard. First 4 years, my brain was just scrambled from this budget. My checkbook ain't even compared to this budget. So I just want to let everyone know that the council has to work together for this budget to work. We have to get revenue in this city to cover the budget. We don't have any revenue. When we lost Seal Power, we lost Lift Tech, we lost consumers. We never replaced those jobs with any jobs to cover this budget. Because revenue is, when you get revenue in here, it'll help us with this budget.
Thank you. Same question, Mr. Hodges.
Ask it one more time.
Sure. What is your plan to address the city's current budget deficit and ensure responsible fiscal management?
As Councilman Collins has stated, it is up to the council to make sure that everything is being followed, all rules, regulations, and policy is being followed. It's up to us to set policy. So we need to have an audit done of the monies that we've currently got in. And like he said, bring in grant writers, and if it takes us ourselves, reach out to those agencies that can help us repair strained relationships with the county, with the state, and with the feds, and seek out those entities which are, fortunately for us, over on the other side of the state that can help us. There's a lot of money out there for small cities like us to improve our infrastructure, to bring in businesses in our industrial sector, as well as our commercial sector, and finally for us, the homeowners. So there is money's out there for us. We just have to employ the right people that know how to go get it and oversee it, and be better stewards of not just what we have, but as we move forward, make sure that we're doing what we need to do as we carry on in the future.
Thank you. Same question, Mr. Smith. Thank you. Same question, Mr. Smith.
First and foremost is economic development. We need to work more closely with our personnel department, finance department, and making sure that we have more meetings and before brought to council, ensuring that these meetings are done in a timely manner, and also ensuring that anyone who's willing to invest in the city of Muskegon Heights has that opportunity. As Councilman Collins said, we had a lot of development of Seal Power, consumers energy. No one will never get back places like CWC and all that. But we have the land and development in the city to encourage some of the small developments to come back into the city, to believe in the investment to the city of Muskegon Heights. We also have to encourage homeowners who live in the city of Muskegon Heights to also want to work in the city of Muskegon Heights. The city of Muskegon Heights is a gold mine, a diamond in the rough that we still have time to shine in. And we just have to be able to believe in ourselves in order to grow as a city. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mitchell, same question.
Can you state the question?
I will state the question again.
Appreciate that.
What is your plan to address the city's current budget deficit and ensure responsible fiscal management?
Well, I'll start with the fiscal management side of it. I think first and foremost, we have to make sure that everyone on the council has a certain level of financial literacy. It doesn't matter how much money we get in if we can't do the checks and balances ourselves. So that's a very important part, and that's why the council itself should have those type of diversities, because we need to have different people who specialize in different things. I also believe that we need to have finance or financial meetings that include the community. You should not find out that your water bill has changed when it comes in the mail. If there's something that's going to be changed, there should be some communication, or if there's some different policies or things that come in that are coming down the pipe. We should have some town halls to discuss those things, because some of these words or programs are very high level. We need to be able to break those down some so other citizens can understand those things. Also in that, I think it's economic development. When you think about cities like Benton Harbor that are kind of like ours, that was disenfranchised when different industries left, something that the municipality or the city did, they invested back into the community. It's called municipality-owned businesses. You can Google it, it's not illegal, it's something that happens. And what that means is that the municipality itself helps to spur business. So if you wanted to open a coffee shop, they will help invest in you to open that coffee shop. They would take 20%, if you will, you keep 80%, and now the city has an investment. That's what they do. They pour it back into their own versus thinking that a business owner should just do it themselves. You have the day and age of a municipality doing those things has come and gone. It's the 21st century. We have 21st century problems, so we can't take the status quo approach as a municipality in that space. They've already told us that in Muskegon Heights, some of those legacy costs that we have, like some of those pensions and things of that nature, they're going to be hitting, those triggers are going to be hitting very soon. Currently, we don't have anything. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to give them all a hand. All right, so this is a recurring theme that we're seeing on these cards. And this again will be a 2-minute answer. Here's the question. One of the things that you all have been talking about is council working well together. Do you believe that the current city council works well together? If yes, please provide examples of how that has happened. If no, what would you do to help it work better together?
So we'll stop.
I'm sorry, and we'll start with that.
Speak on.
Yes, sir. Speak on.
Yes, sir.
Okay, y'all. Unfortunately, our current city council is not working in our best interest. The reason I think that is because some of us have the wrong idea of what it is to be a public servant. And if you lose sight of what it is to be a public servant, you tend to put yourself and your own best interests up first. People that have come to me, potential business owners and home builders, have said, no, Doc, I'm not gonna do it. Because you can't get nothing done at City Hall. That's one issue. Council sets the tone for everything else. We are the ones, council are the ones that set policy and make sure everyone else is doing what they're supposed to do. Without that, you get all of these problems that we have. When people come to City Hall and they go to certain departments and can't get things done like need to be, they just assume go elsewhere. So, what makes it worse is to see some of the infighting that goes on. What makes it worse is to see when you have the attitude that all I need is the majority. As long as I got 4 votes, I can push my agenda.
Thank you, that's time.
I'm gonna be frank, no, I don't feel that the council is representing the city of Muskegon Heights and the standards that it should be. In the 8 years that I did serve, that old motto, sometimes you have to agree to disagree. And I don't believe that has happened in the last 4 years. Who wants to come invest in the city of Muskegon Heights if we're not getting along? If we're downplaying each other, if we're disrespecting each other? I myself would not want to invest in the city of Muskegon Heights if I come into the city and I'm getting turned away at everything that I come with. We have to believe in ourselves before people outside of us believe in us. No, I'm just gonna be blunt. I'm embarrassed. I'm just grown at some of the behavior that I've seen in the last 4 years. And if we're gonna move forward as a council, we have to come in and address ourselves as ladies and gentlemen. If we're ever gonna move forward and people are gonna want to invest in us, we also have to believe in ourselves. This has just gone on for too long. That's one of the reasons why I'm running again. I'm not gonna say that I can just single-handedly change things on my own, but I'm willing to try to come in back and make a difference. As I stated, we have to believe in ourselves before others will come and invest and believe in us. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm gonna take a moment of privilege as the moderator. I hope y'all okay with it. I want to make sure the question is fully answered though. So I'm gonna give you each an additional 30 seconds, and I'll give you both 2 minutes and 30 seconds to answer the question. The question also asks, what would you do to address working well together? If the answer was no. So although you've identified some of the issues as you see it, please take 30 seconds each to identify what you'll do to address it or how you will work to fix it.
Well, that being previously on council, I would say, we have our agendas and all, and that before those meetings take place, that is the time and opportunity that if you have a disagreement with the mayor or with some council person, or even with the department, that is the time that you go to that department, go to that individual and express your concerns. Hashing that out, going back and forth, doing the public is not the place to be.
Thank you.
Okay. First and foremost, it has to start with self. So I'd have to do an evaluation of myself to make sure I'm right going in, and then encourage the others that sit on the council to do the same. Let's make sure in a private meeting, as he stated before we come out, because when we come out and address the public, we are united at that point. We are representing us at that point. And so making sure that my head is right, making sure that I'm functioning on all cylinders.
Thank you.
As well as them.
Thank you. All right, so we'll turn to this side of the table. I'll repeat the question. The question is, do you believe that the current city council works well together? If yes, please provide examples of how so. If no, please explain what you would do to change that. And we'll start with you, Mr. McKee. You have 2 minutes and 30 seconds. 2 minutes and 30 seconds, because I gave the additional 30 seconds. Same question, just add the 4 times.
Just as everyone has said, no, I do not feel that the council works well together. But I think outside of conducting yourselves accordingly, I think some of it is systemic, and this is what I mean. There are no protections or anything in the charter or the rules that have anything to say if you don't follow the rules or if you conduct yourself in a way that there's some type of penalty. So we can say all day long that we're going to trust people to do these things, but at the end of the day, if that person of value fails, there needs to be a standard mechanism that's there. When someone acts that way, it's not up for debate. You've violated this, and moving forward, if it's a censure or if it's a warning, the next time you'll be expelled, then that should be it. That would stop that quickly. Also, as far as team building, something that you can easily do is team building exercises. If we are a team, we have to think cohesively as a team. That's why organizations and corporations do this, because they also have different boards and things of that nature with varying ideas, and they need them all to be in one accord. So simply do some team building exercises or go on some retreats and work through these things. Just because we work well together, that don't mean we have to like one another. But if we're not going to be together as a council, then there's no secret why we don't get things done. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Council.
Well, since my 4 years, it's been going on longer than 4 years. I seen it when I went to council's meeting, all the council meetings. First of all, no, we're not. Sometimes we have to remove our personal views. We need to work together. We work for the community. That's what we're supposed to be working for, the community. Some of the laws we have as council, we cannot have meetings before meetings. We cannot, there's a lot of bylaws you have to follow. So it's hard for us to work unless we lie and get caught. And we don't want to do that. So first of all, we need to work on ourselves. Because arguing, bickering, and what Mr. Mitchell said about we need to help each other when we go out there. We don't supposed to go up there and argue. Only thing we're supposed to be working on is what we came out there on the agenda for. And that's been a big issue since I've been on the 4 years. Now the last 3 months, it's been easy.
You're right.
It has been great. I don't know what happened or what changed. I don't know if it's because of the election. But we need that same 3 months now for this next term. We have a big problem. I count myself in there. You can get mad. So I just ask that we all work on ourselves. I will check myself first and I work for the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's give them a hand. And the next question is, as a Muskegon Heights City Council person, how do you plan to grow the city's tax base? Again, as a Muskegon Heights City Council person, how do you plan to grow the city's tax base? And I believe we're at Mr. Smith this time, and we'll make that a two-minute question. Thank you.
Can you repeat that one more time?
Yes. As a Muskegon Heights City Council person, how do you plan to grow the city's tax base?
By encouraging more businesses to invest into the city of Muskegon Heights, to encourage more home ownership. There's really no excuse. 17-year gap of home ownership. During my previous time, we were working towards home ownership, and those kind of things kind of slipped between the cracks. And just looking at this development in the city of Muskegon Heights, it's not there. They have development going up in the city of Muskegon, North Shore, Shreveport, Spring Lake, Grand Haven. Those same type of businesses, home ownership, can also be developed in the city of Muskegon Heights. But as I previously stated, if we don't believe in ourselves, who on our side is going to believe in us? I believe that if we come back and work as strong as a council, as a united front, if people come into our meetings and see us working together as one as a unit moving forward versus working against each other, then I believe that we'll be able to move greater as a city of Muskegon Heights. I mean, we have so much development here to where we've got land for gardening, for businesses, home ownership. I mean, which is, as I said, we're diamond in the rough. We just need to take the time to work as a united front in order to bring the city of Muskegon Heights back to where we were. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mitchell, same question. I will. As a City of Muskegon Heights council person if elected, how do you plan to grow the city's tax base?
Thank you. Well, two ways you grow tax base is by paying taxes, so that would be within homes or with economic development, with jobs or businesses. I think it was Ms. Sargent who talked about it from the commissioners' debate when she talked about the community land trust. And what that is that is something that the community sets forth. They sell the homes at a lesser rate. They fix them up to make sure they're above code. But when they sell them at a lesser rate, then what happens is there's already equity in it for the homeowners. Now, I learned this because I was the director of housing for the Urban League of West Michigan. And so I worked with them, put together a community land trust. It definitely works. Also, it's about economic development. I spoke previously about municipality-owned businesses or invested in businesses. We don't have a grocery store in Muskegon Heights. A grocery store in Muskegon Heights serves more than the purpose of having somewhere to buy fresh produce or not having to go to Walmart. It also creates jobs. Guess who pay taxes? Employees. So these things help one another. So we need to look at these things. They're very simple. Also, reach out to other municipalities. We don't have to recreate the wheel. We are not the only municipality that has been in this space that has a tight budget. So use those networks, go to some of those meetings that they have for city councilmen or municipality leaders and ask a question. What have you done in this space to help these things out? I'm not saying that we can copy it letter for letter, word for word, line by line, but they have some great ideas. Muskegon Heights is a very proud community, and we've been pretty tight-fisted all our lives, which is great for the pride, but we don't hold all the keys and we don't have all the resources. So we have to be smart enough to ask those questions that are going to allow us to help ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Collins, same question.
First, we have to work together as a council. From my experience, we have to try to be at the table when they're giving out this resource. We don't get all the information. This is where your arguments come in. I can go on, but I'm not going to do that. First of all, we need to get revenue in our city. Then we need to get a grant writer. If we get this grant writer, they can help us out. Every time you hear someone say something, they had a grant writer. They got grant funds. We also have the ARPA money, but we haven't used all our ARPA money. So first of all, we need homes, we need business, and that's what I'm hoping to do this term.
Thank you. Mr. Hines?
Okay. As I stated earlier, first and foremost, no matter what we do, if City Hall isn't operating correctly, we can have a flood of money. But if City Hall isn't operating correctly, if we aren't doing what we're supposed to do, it doesn't help anything. Okay, but as we're fixing that, because it is an uphill battle, as we're fixing that, it's going to be busy work for the council. As we get ourselves in line, and we think about the revenue that our city generates through home ownership, commercial businesses, and industrial businesses, we have to work to make sure that all of those areas are getting growth. And by that, I mean, you go to those, we have people in place that stay in contact with them to make sure that we're finding out what's needed in those different areas. When you talk about commercial, our downtown area needs to be full of commerce, full of interactions, full of small businesses, that we don't just want people to ride through the Heights. We want them to stop and spend a dollar with us. So we have to work to build our commercial sector as well as the industrial sector. We do still have businesses here, small factories and shops. Make sure that they have the things that they need and go to them and see how can their business grow. If they have additional businesses, how can we help this way? So go for that, go for those businesses. And then home ownership. Do all that we can to make sure that the homeowners that we do currently have are engaged and listening to them and seeing what they need, as well as developing our existing areas and new areas. The Heights still has space, but we still have land. And there's room for growth. Like I said, it's gonna be an uphill battle, but it's one that we have to be willing to fight, willing to go to work for, and willing to do all that we can to make sure that this city is not just what it used to be, but moving forward.
Thank you. All right, so our next question will be a 3-minute question, and we'll be starting with Mr. Mitchell. Tiger pride runs through the blood of so many who grew up in the city of Muskegon Heights. But many young Black professionals leave Muskegon Heights and feel like it's not a space that they can return to. What are the 3 most significant issues that prevent Muskegon's young Black professionals from coming back to the Heights, and what will you do to address those issues?
Good question.
Thank you. Well, the first thing I think is about representation. We have to model the behavior. Anytime when you talk about diversity, you talk about people, one of the main things you talk about is representation, which means that if I'm in a place, I want to see people in charge that look like me. When you think about us as Muskegon Heights, or just in our culture, historically, what we talk about is the decisions are made by the adults, and we really tell the children to just kind of follow our lead and go from there because you're too young to understand. Now, I can understand that, being in that space, growing up at that time, but at this time, a lot of the young people are eager and they want to be involved. So I think, first off, it needs to be about representation. I think also we need to understand that there is no beef or conflict between legacy Black professionals and young Black professionals. That's why it's a bridge. It's supposed to be a succession plan, which means that the young people we learn along the way, and then when the retirees age out, then us young Black professionals can walk into that space. To be honest, that really doesn't happen. A lot of times people are in these positions for their entire lives, even though they don't want to continue to do the work. And then that frustrates young Black professionals because it's said that when you have to wait your turn, as if the young Black professionals have not waited their turn and worked just as hard for their turn. So in that, I think that we need to have succession plans. If there's going to be positions that should be built in there, that there's a succession plan that's easy to do. So if you have a position, you have somebody else in that space that's working along with them, a co-chair, if you will, so they can learn that and move forward in that space. And also what we need to do is we need to engage the young Black people in general at the high school level. We used to have social studies and those things to do that. Again, I'm the only Black male teacher at Muskegon Charter Public School Academy. Come up there sometimes. I'm not just telling you what I think, I'm telling you what I see every day. They want to be involved, but no one thinks about them, but we talk about, thank you.
Thank you. I will. What are the 3 most significant issues facing Muskegon young Black professionals that prevents them from returning to the Heights, and what will you do to address them?
We have a lot of alumni that are left and thriving in good big business. Some of them told me that you need to be a safe area, you need to be a school, and they need to be homes. They need those 3 things to come back here to live. Because a lot of them are still young and they have kids. They need a school, homes, and they need to be safe. And we have to work together to get that. The biggest problem with some of them that have left, they don't want to deal with council. They done told me several times, I want to put a business in the Heights, but your council argues too much, don't agree on nothing, and they turn down everything. That's the biggest problem they have with coming back to invest in Muskegon Heights. I convinced them to keep trying because sooner or later we're going to change.
Thank you. Mr. Hines, same question.
Thank you. I don't have three things that I think is a problem, just two. One, I was raised I'm part of a fairly big family, the Hineses. And mom and dad told all of us, when you graduate, you go to college and leave here and start your life elsewhere. You don't need to come back here. Go out and see the world. So I think a lot of it is when some of us leave, we have no desire to come back. We have a desire to live in the bigger cities and that big city experience, which is nothing wrong with that. Now, the second reason is opportunity. I think young Black professionals look at, or I should say, lack of opportunity. Younger Black professionals right now, they don't see enough opportunity for them to thrive in our city. Not enough support for their ideas that they have. And they have some very good and unique, positive ideas, which make very good sense. But we don't have the necessary support that they need to be able to sperm, to be able to grow, to be able to invest and see it come to fruition. So I think it's just the two things. One, when they leave, they have no desire to come back. They're living their lives, whether it be coastal, in the south, wherever, central. And the ones that would come back, they don't see enough opportunity. There's not enough opportunity for them to grow their dream as they see.
Thank you. Mr. Smith, what are the three most significant issues facing Muskegon's young Black professionals that prevent them from returning to Muskegon Heights, and what will you do to address them?
First off, I want to start off by saying that my father was an educator in the Muskegon Heights public school system for 27 years. You know, he was a Muskegon Heights graduate, a U.S. Army Vietnam veteran, to where he came back and gave back to the community because he had a educator tell him that he wouldn't be worth anything but factory worker. And he proved him wrong being in the system. Watching my father day in and day out give back to the community is one of the reasons why I give back to my community. In order for our youth to come back and want to invest into the city of Muskegon Heights, we have to have the jobs, the development, the people who are going to believe in the city of Muskegon Heights. If we don't have any of that, we don't have anything at all to invest in. We have many of our young men and young women who graduated from the city of Muskegon Heights, who went on to cities as far as Detroit, Chicago, and bigger cities. It's not that the opportunity wasn't here, the economical affordance to be able to afford that, to afford these people with the education. We have doctors and lawyers that have graduated out of the city of Muskegon Heights. If the money's not there, the young people are gonna go where the money is. All we have to do is bring the money back to the city of Muskegon Heights. Once you bring that money, once you bring that development back to the city of Muskegon Heights, then you'll see the people, you'll see the development, you'll see the jobs, you'll see the homes, you'll see the factories, as they previously stated.
That's time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, we've reached our final question for you all. What we're going to ask you to do is to give your closing remarks. Again, explain why you're qualified for this position, why our community should vote for you, and what you'll do on day one to make change in the city of Muskegon Heights. And you have 2 minutes to answer that question. We're going to work in reverse order this time. Mr. Smith, we'll start with you.
As I previously stated, I served on council from 2019 to 2011 to 2019. I believe that if voted, I believe that I can bring transparency back to the council, more of a unity to where we always didn't agree, but it wasn't to the state that it is now. I'm not just asking for your vote just to have my name up there on a name tag, or I'm not just asking for you're not gonna just see me just when I'm asking for your vote. If you see me out, whether I'm elected on council or not, I'm gonna do things up front and behind the scenes. I want people to believe in me as a council person, as an individual that can bring unity, that can bring us back to a united front. Thank you.
Once again, my name is Dari Hines, and I'd like for you to vote for me on November 7th, or sooner if you like. The reason being is because day one, I will be going to work for the Heights. I love this city and I love the people in it. On council, I will make sure that, do my part to make sure that the city is operating correctly and that with all departments, they need to be running the way they need to be run. I will be a voice for you. I will be someone that you can approach. I'm ready to, I have energy and I have new ideas to bring this city forward. And I'm asking for your vote on November 7th, so that you will have at least one more person up there making sure that things are done the way they're supposed to.
My name is Derek Collins again. I'm sitting right now on the council. I'm asking for re-election for 4 more years. I'm a long time Muskegon Heights resident. Love Muskegon Heights. I love the support of my community, and I help my community. My vision when I come back this time is still with the support of council. You still always have to have council support. It's not just one person. To provide a safe, decent, and affordable housing for our community. We need to work on that this year. Establish safe and viable, attractive neighborhood, and enhance our resource of positive individual, family, and community growth. We gotta look out for our kids, and I'm here for this next 4 years. I will ask for your vote, November the 7th. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, again, my name is Darius Mitchell, and I want to be your next city councilman, so I'm asking you for your vote on November 7th. I don't think it's a stretch to say that the soul of our city is at stake in this next election. We cannot operate the same way, go through the same motions, do the same status quo, and get minimal results. The true definition of insanity is to do the same thing over again and expect a different result. When you have a council, you have to have people on the council that can uniquely do the jobs of the council. The council has operations, they deal with unions, they deal with personnel, things of those natures. I don't want you to vote for me just because you think I'm popular. I want you to vote for me because I'm qualified. I started my career in corporate America and I was operations manager and different things of that nature, finance people or continuous improvement individuals or managers for those corporations. That's what we need. Our charter hasn't been updated in a very long time. Process improvement or operational excellence is something that I'm certified in. We need diversity, equity, and inclusion-minded people. I have certifications and trainings in those things also. I have trainings in workforce development, conflict management, which I'm sure I will need. So, what I need from you is to protect your own legacy. You worked very hard to get Muskegon Heights to where it is, and I don't want to sit on the sidelines and watch someone else tear it down. So let's work together for a better Muskegon Heights. Thank you.
One more time, let's celebrate the community. Thank you all so much. Thank you all so much for your time tonight. And we are moving to our last category of the evening, which is the Muskegon Heights mayoral race. We ask the candidates to please join us on stage. I think this microphone down, so we'll swap it out. Who are you? All right, so good evening to each of you. We will use the same format that we've been using throughout the night. We'll start with our opening remarks. We'll give you an opportunity to introduce yourself and explain why you are running for mayor of the city of Muskegon Heights. And we will start with Mayor Watts.
Good evening, everyone. My name
Use the microphone.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Mayor Walter Watt. I am the current mayor here in the city of Muskegon Heights, and I am running for re-election to continue the job that I've been doing. We have some of the most best things happening in the city that's not happening in a very long time. We're making improvements, we're providing solutions to the problems, we're making changes, and we're working together with all those that want to come in and help us fix these issues and concerns that we have. Muskegon Heights has a lot of issues. We have a lot of concerns that needs a unified council, all minds on deck to solve the issues. And when we come with a solution for one of the issues, we all must agree that it's a good solution. And if we have a solution and we vote no, I think that's a problem, more of a personal problem than anything else. Because if we bring about a good solution for a problem and everybody's had the opportunity to discuss it and bring it forth any way that they want to, I think that we should pass that solution to whatever problem it is. I think that we have to do a better job at solving the city's problems. We have a tremendous amount of problems, but if we're fighting, we can't solve them. So I'm running to continue to provide solutions, changes, improvements, and continue to work with those who want to come in and help us fix these issues. Because right now we have more momentum going on in the city of Muskegon Heights than the history of my lifetime. We're doing roads that haven't been done in my lifetime. We're redeveloping houses that are helping to bring back the value up in the community. And we're fixing the issues and concerns in City Hall. Some of the issues that we have in City Hall has tremendously affected the value of our community, particularly in the assessor's office, and that's a whole other issue. So we're fixing those things, and we're doing the things that needs to be done to bring this city back. And
that's time. Thank you so much. Ma'am?
Good evening. I'm Patricia Jones, and first of all, I'd like to start by thanking Ms. Benu, the pastor of this church, 103.7 The Beat Radio, for bringing this forward. It's been a long time since I've seen where citizens have been made aware to come out and to hear us and let us, because we are accountable to you. And so often we forget that. As a council member, I worked 18 years, and I think they probably still almost give me more seniority, but I also started as the youngest council member at 26 and still hold that title, I think. So I was there 18 years. In that 18 years, I learned how to run a city. You know, I wonder sometimes, oh God, they're taking me through the ringer. But you know what? Today, I'm thankful for them taking me through the ringer, because they taught me the business of running the city. It is a business. But you know what? You can never forget, this is not my seat. That would not be my seat. You know, as I go to and fro, when they say, you gonna do this. No, me ain't gonna do nothing. Flip it over to the W. We Because we got a lot of work to do in this city, you know, and I'm hearing more, I'm hearing about budget deficits, I'm hearing a lot of things, because you know what? I'm the kind, I haven't went up there, I haven't bothered in their business. I always made myself accessible for 20 years for anybody that wanted to come and get any knowledge. Nobody came. See, that's one thing, I reach out, when you reach out, I remember, I think it was Councilman Fisher back in the years, some may not know him. But he told me one time, I'm like, why are you doing this? He said, because somebody gonna need to know this. And today, I stand up and to run for mayor because you know.
That's time. Thank you so much.
I didn't begin.
Sir.
My name is Will Watson. I ran for mayor for a couple of reasons, but I will explain who I am. Started working for the city of Muskegon Heights when I was 16 years old. Got hired in '73, I was 19. Worked my way through every department. I hired in as a public works director and I served in that position for about 5 years. I got bought out by the city because at the time I was the biggest critic. So they bought me out in 2004. But there's an old saying that says, keep your friends close and your enemies close. Came back and ran for council. And all those who were not doing what they're supposed to do, that particular council and me, we got rid of those people. We were in a very bad deficit situation. We went up and worked with Governor Snyder, and we actually saved the city. We were taken over. We had to say we had fund balance and things like that. So I served 8 years doing that, and then I decided, well, things are stable now. Maybe I don't have to come back again. So here we are 15 years later, I'm back because we have the same problems that we had before. So I want to make sure that this doesn't happen again. There is a misconception about being mayor. People think that the mayor is like city of Detroit. He has power, he has this. The mayor doesn't have any power. The mayor has one vote. Matter of fact, the council has more power than he does. He can suggest and appoint people, but the council's got to approve. The mayor cannot even select his own pro tem. The council does that, okay? And that's what I want to show and be a mayor that converses with every colleague. There shouldn't be a situation where you're mad at me or you're hating me or something like that. And not bullying and intimidating people. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question, you have 2 minutes for this. We will go directly in order. So this question is, under your leadership as mayor of Muskegon Heights, what are your plans for Mona Lake Beach? Again, Mona Lake Beach is one of the city's greatest resources. Under your leadership as mayor of Muskegon Heights, what are your plans for Mona Lake Beach? We'll start with you, Dan.
Yes, Mona Lake Park is one of our greatest assets. I would say maybe secondary, one of them, but Mona Lake Park would definitely be upon one of the great. When we were there, we did a lot to protect our water rights. See, there's some out there that would want our water rights. They take it somehow, through the years, all the hard work we put in, with maintaining our water and selling water to Northern Shores. We've just lost that. We've almost lost the filtration plant. One day I look at Muskegon, be selling water to us, and we don't stop. You take a look at it, Mona Lake Park has to first be grounded. We need to take a look because there's some problems out there. When I see water backing up and people can't use the park for half the season, then we need to look at that first. We need to stabilize the park. Then we need to clean it up. Then we need to go back and get our land. Go back and clear off, our opening, our landscape, and get our land back. Return our beaches. See, our children need to be able to have beaches they can grow up on, just like we did. And you know what? It's not that hard. But first, we must stabilize that lake area, then clean it up, fix it up, and allow our children to enjoy what we enjoy. We have a beautiful building out there, a historic building. we can utilize the historic building for a lot of things, you know, when we were the last ones, and when I say we, I mean the council I served on. Back in 19, I think the last one would have been, no, earlier than that, but anyway, the councils I served on, we protected that water. You know, and there's a plaque up there with our name on it, that we protected that building, you know, because it was part of this city. You know, and when you have a park that plays into the history, see, some things, if they get them on Lake Park in school, we through.
Thank you, ma'am, that's time. Mr. Watson, same question.
What I would do with Morning Lake Park, when I was here, we did 2 phases of Morning Lake Park. The third phase never materialized because, I don't know, some grant money fell through. But the plan was to actually tear down the pavilion, put a amphitheater in there and move the pavilion over so that we would be able to see the lake. Well, it doesn't look like that's gonna happen, so I would suggest that we hold on to it as much as we can. But what I really would love to see with the pavilion, that it becomes a Muskegon Heights Community Center. It is our jewel. I don't want to ever see it fall into private hands. I like to see some addressed in the charter in regards to that nobody, no council member can sell any of our assets without it going to the people.
It's there.
No, it's not there, Pat. I know. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's a very good question. I'm glad someone asked that question because while Mona Lake is our jewel, it is set, particularly the pavilion is set almost 25 years unused. It just being deprived. And if I had my way, if I could, what we need to do, number one, we need to reconstruct the entire park. It's not being utilized effectively. We got a lot of land on one side that we built a baseball field, Diamond. It hasn't been used since I've been back living in Muskegon, and probably 10 to 15 years prior to that. We have a soccer field that's not being used. We have all of this land on one side that's not being used, and on the other side, it's partially being used. So one of the things that I would do, and I've been to a lot of communities across this state, and particularly smaller communities that have beachfront property like ours. And one of the things that they have on that beach is housing development. Everybody wants to live around the water. So that's one of the first things I would do if I had my way, was find a developer that would want to come in and with the consent of council to develop our park and reconstruction, relay it out to where it's being used properly, and we have some type of housing out there. And as far as the Mona Lake Pavilion, we have a developer right now that has come forth that wants to develop this facility at his own cost. We haven't given anything away. We haven't, we've allowed a use agreement to someone to come and spend their own money to redevelop it, and we still own it. And he's gonna redevelop it into a restaurant and event center. So the fact of the matter is, it's been sitting for 25 years. The beach looked horrible. And the vision is, once that's done and we start to get grant monies to improve it, Mona Lake Park will be brought back. But I think that one of the things we have missed is the opportunity to develop housing right there off the water, because when you talk about bringing young people back, they want to be near water.
Thank you, that's time. All right, our next question is, what measures will you take to enhance public safety and address the root causes of crime in our neighborhoods? Again, what measures will you take to enhance public safety and address the root causes of crime in our neighborhoods? And Mr. Watson, we'll start with you.
Well, I don't think you can actually just stop crime when a person's got his mind made up, he wants to do something wrong. You can stop that. I think it's the same as doing an excellent job with the police department, and we gave him the resources to do so. So I would say make sure that he still has the resources to do, and make sure he has all the equipment, make sure he's fully staffed. But I personally feel he's doing a good job. But like I said, a lot of the crimes that take place here, they're not our people. These are people coming from other cities that are doing the shootings and bringing that stripe out to here. But you can't stop that. You're not gonna be able to stop that. It's just person's got a deviant mind, he's got a deviant mind. But I think the best thing is to make sure that we support Mr. Sam, make sure that he has all the tools and avenues to make sure that we are safe. And when I hear things about being safe, I'm not afraid of myself. I don't know what people are talking about. I Googled something today before I came here, and it said, why is Muskegon Heights so dangerous? I'm like, I'm not afraid of my city. I walk the streets at night. I leave my doors unlocked. I'm not afraid of that. It's the outsiders that are coming in. Some of them may be young folks, but then again, we got some older folks that act fool too. But at the end of the day, you can't stop a deviant mind, but just make sure that we can, Mr. Sane has all the tools he needs. Make sure the fire department have all the tools we need, and hopefully we can sleep good at night. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Again, that question is, what measures will you take to enhance public safety and address the root causes of crime in our neighborhoods? And now we can go on.
Well, thank you. The number one thing we can do is continue to support our chief and the police staff and the efforts that they put forth to keep our city safe. It's a tough job being an officer, and you know, one of the things we have to do is support them. Oftentimes I get many calls from a lot of citizens, complaints about how an officer might have spoken to them, how they might have done something to them. And one thing that the council did years ago, which was a very good idea, they approved cameras. And each time after, you know, they go back and review the camera, the story is often not what we were told it was. So, and so we have to continue to support those. And also one of the things we can do is provide community policing, you know, and start getting back on foot patrol and doing those types of things, and mentoring programs for these youths. That these are some of the things that the chief is doing now with the guns programs and mentoring and community policing. So the chief saying is doing a very good job. The officers are doing a good job, and our fire staff is doing a good job. They're all underpaid. They're all underpaid, but they continue to work each and every day, keeping our city safe the best they can. And I must say, the gun shootings, the violence that I used to hear 3-4 years ago, I don't hear it as often. So I think that he's doing a good job in that regard and keeping the violence down.
Thank you. Ms. Johnson?
Yes, I don't know.
Would you use the microphone, please?
I don't know how many officers we have, but back in my time, which was 20 years ago. So I expect that today we have at least 40 police officers, because the max we needed, the minimum was 25 back when I served. So I would hope 20 years later that has doubled, or at least we would have 10 more added to the force. What, do you guys count? About 15, okay, policing. Now, I always believe, if you can't have a city without police. So I'm an advocate for police, always were, always have been. We must have police. People in a city, if they don't feel safe, they're not gonna be a part of that city. I'm glad you know that we built Woodcliff area. I was one of those parties. That's the last major housing project that we did 20 years ago was Woodcliff. And it was designed so you could get out and walk and be safe. Okay, I live in the city for real. See, I live down in the midst. I live on Acton in Hartford. I can still get out and walk, but it's not safe. You know, my family said, come back in. In fact, we took 2 bullets to our house last week. I still saw 1 police. Do we have detectives anymore? Because no one came to follow up. No one came to see. Can we look at some cameras? Let's see who did that. We get to be on detectives now, because they don't come out. They don't follow through. They didn't follow through with mine anyway. I'm just talking about mine. And this happened last week. We saw no policemen. I have watched children lay in the street for 8 hours, dead. When the kids was going to school in the morning, they saw on the school bus, they saw the dead body laying out there. When they got out there evening, the dead body was still there. So to me, even if they were not from this area, the young man was not from this area, he was a human being. Pick him up off the ground and still
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right, our next question is, can you Our next question is, what is your familiarity with the ARPA funds that have been used in the city of Muskegon Heights? Were these funds used appropriately? That's the question. What is your familiarity with the ARPA funds that were used in the city of Muskegon Heights? And do you believe that these funds were used appropriately? And I believe we are back with Bernard first.
Thank you for the question. Absolutely, the funds have been used appropriately. And quite honestly, the majority has been used to fill a budget gap that we've had for the last 4 years. When we came into office, we were not made aware of a $50 million hole that we had. So thank God for the ARPA funds and the fact that we could use that for the budget, because that's what has saved us the last 4 years from being in a deficit. And so what we should be doing is finding new revenues to fill the holes that we have had so that we can not have that problem again by developing housing. We tore down over 400 houses, the land bank did, in the city of Muskegon Heights. 400 houses. That's tax dollars. That's someone that's not living in those houses. So the ARPA funds have been also used to purchase a fire truck. So all of those funds have been used appropriately, and there's still some left to be used, and more than likely will be used again for the budget. So it's important that we continue to do things to create revenues, fix our problems within City Hall that has cost us hundreds of thousands of dollars, particularly the assessor's office, so that we can move our city forward and get things back on track. So yes, the ARPA funds have been used completely, 100% accurately according to how we were able to use it. And thank God for ARPA funds, because had we not received it, we would be in a deep hole.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Jones.
I guess I would say, if you have a budget deficit of that magnitude, you better take it from somewhere, but why would you have a budget deficit of that magnitude? I often say, as you run your homes, you can't go out and spend $30,000 and you ain't got the $10,000 in the bank. I would think I would know right then. I would have to look a year or 10 or 5 days later and say, oh, how am I going to fill that deficit? I think we have to be more cautious of how we're using and what we're using. When you go in there, and the planning department should be the busiest in the building. There's nobody in the planning department. It's a dead office area. No one governs what goes on there. City Hall has gone completely like I can say in a minute. I thought I turned off this shit out. When I turned it off, I was just minute.
I'll take it outside. Excuse me.
But I don't know exactly. I can't say exactly what those funds were for and how they were supposed to be used. So I won't really speak on it. But I just, what the mayor said about it, I just took it off of, kick off of that. That I would hope that, your budget is your budget. And when you budget for a reason, you stay within your budget guidelines. And if you go out, you don't go out to $1 million magnitude, I would not think so, So, again, I think we're elected by people that send us up there to do a job on their behalf, to keep them strong, keep them safe, and make sure this city is viable. And we're spending over $1 million deficit.
That's time.
It's unheard of.
Thank you, Mr. Watson.
Well, you caught me at a disadvantage that the mayor has more knowledge on that. Every city puts their budget online. Okay, so you know what the challenges from what understanding what's going on. Now, when you go to the city website, this is what you get as far as budget. You got a statement here that looks, I got more information on my bank statement than this. This is what you get. It doesn't say to tell you anything. It just looks like words. So I went to another city. This is a city of Roseville Park.
Yeah, that's how cheap though.
This is their budget. It tells you everything from to the last penny. And it's online. It tells you what you did, where the money's spent, how much debt is in the debt, and anything like that. So I can't tell you what we got. I can't give you something that I don't know about. You know what I mean? I don't know, because the people don't know, and when you ask certain council people, they don't know. And the council persons are the ones that's supposed to know. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we're actually out of time. We're gonna ask one more question and then give you the opportunity for closing remarks. So the last question is a question that we ask to the city council candidates. Do you believe that the mayor and city council currently work well together? And if yes, please provide examples of that. If not, please explain what you would do to cause that to happen. And Mr. Watson, we'll begin with you.
No, they don't put that together. No way do they not put together. There's too much intimidation, too much bullying. There's power struggle going on. One group wants to control this, one group wants to control that, and it should never be that way. When you look at our city charter, everybody's supposed to be able to bring something to the table. Like I said, the council actually has more power than the mayor, but you got too much alienation going on. Here's an example. Now, we just did a new statute. It's supposed to be to bring people together, right? If you go up there and look at that statute, and you look at the fine print, it tells you the intern city manager, tells you DPW director, it's got pro tem, and it's got the mayor. Not one council person is listed on that document. Not one. And when you do something like that, you have all the people, you have the guy who designed it, you have this, the people that did the income system, everybody's listed, but not one council person is listed on it. And that is the most disrespectful thing I've ever seen in my life working for the city of Muskegon Heights. Now, I don't know what this typo, but how can you dedicate this beautiful statue, and you talk about bringing people together, and you don't even put my name on the back? So when I'm elected mayor, you're probably elected mayor. That's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen. I can't go for that backbiting and stuff like that. There was people on the council when I was there. We didn't always see eye to eye, but we all went to Governor Snyder's office and brought the city back, and nobody held the chest out and said, "Oh, I did this, I did that." We did that, and that's one of the words that's not being used. It's I. And it should be we. Brought it back. And I'll make sure whatever I know, you don't know.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes. Thank you. There are good times when there are times when the council works well together, and there's times when we don't. And that pretty much is democracy. You're not gonna all agree, but you know what? You got to respectfully agree to disagree. And as mayor, as Mr. Watson has said, the mayor has no more power than any other council person on the council. Quite honestly, I probably have less power than any of them because I'm one vote. All I do is run the meetings. But you know what? I bring forth ideas and solutions to help solve our problems. And that's where I have to go to the council people to try to get support for those solutions to those problems. Because if council, the mayor, if we're not providing solutions to problems that we have in the city, we're not doing our job. That's what we're there for, to provide those solutions so that we can make changes and improvements, and we work together to get it done. So the answer of does council and the mayor work well together? Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. But that's democracy. We have to, find a way. But if it's something good for the city that we're trying to move forward, it should always be a 7-0 vote. But in many cases, it's not. For example, the statute. Some didn't want it. It's the most prideful thing I think we've had happen here in the city of Muskegon Heights. Now, as far as other council people being on, that was my first time seeing the document in the writings of it. And that's not my job to see all those things. That's the city manager and those that were putting it together. Now, if I had an opportunity to see it before then, I probably would have said every council person should be on it. I know I would. So, but the bottom line is, we work well together sometimes, and sometimes we don't. But the key is this. I hate to say it. If we want to move things forward, you need 4 votes to do it. If we can't work with something, we got to work it out.
question was, do you believe that the current mayor and city council work well together? If yes, please provide examples of how. If no, please explain what you would do to address that.
I'm not gonna speak on the current mayor and city council.
Can you use the microphone, please?
Right, oh, I'm loud. I'm not gonna speak on the current mayor and city council, because, you know, I have not been there, I have not watched over them, you know, and in fact, I feel sorry for them in a way. Because you know what, there was no one there to train them. They were left to do the best they can, you know? And again, I think everybody else died. And nobody did any reaching out, you know, and so there was no one to train them. See, I say, I was trained for this, you know, you just don't step up there and say, I'm a councilman because I want to be, and I'm gonna, you know, they don't even, I saw last year with the Festival of the Park, the people on the radio was telling the wrong history of the city, you know, so it's time to turn around and restart our engines. Let's restart them on a note with someone that knows how to run a city. You know what? No, I don't, you know what? I know there will be times where we won't have the same vote, but there should be no way that a statute is instituted without all 7 names. You know, there are some things, you know, it's time out for us to quit the fight. Look at our city, and it shows. I don't have to say what the present council is doing. Look at our city. You know, the only movement we've seen is in the last 5 months with this election. But where were you before then? It was falling in. I haven't seen some officials all year. I haven't seen the chief all year. And not a lot of policemen, you know? These are the things we have to look at and be about the business of running the city again. Because it's not a joke. If it keeps looming, the state will take us into receivership. And then we might not see a policeman for a month. But let's work together to return.
Thank you, that's time. All right, so this is our final question. We're gonna give you each 1 minute to give your closing remarks and explain why you're asking for the votes of the citizens of Muskegon Heights. Mr. Watson, we'll start with you, and we'll work in reverse order.
Well, I'm gonna just step away from a few things first of all.
So we work back, 1 second, we work backwards when we do the closing remarks. We did that for everyone.
Okay, all right. One thing I did say is that I've been married for 52 years and I got 6 grandkids and 1 great grandkid. And what I want to do if I become mayor is to put some safeguards in this time. People like me and Vern don't have to come out of retirement and try to save the city and do certain things. I want to see some things done with the city charter. The charter is 26 years old, and according to the charter, every 10 years you're supposed to have a review. And it hasn't been one yet. And your charter is your Bible. It's just like the Bible in this church. That's your rule. That's what you're supposed to go by. You don't supposed to deviate from that. So I want to make sure that we get a committee to update the charter, not change it, update it, put some newer stuff in, because this is the year 2023. There's some new stuff that needs to be put in there. I want to make sure that everybody's represented at the table. Everybody. You ain't got to worry. I got no extra right. I don't care if you don't get along or don't agree.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Michelle?
Yes. I think my sign sums it up, that you tried the rest. Now maybe we'll go with the best again. I've been a council member in the past for 18 years. I've served on about every board in this town. I keep hearing them talk about the charter. They're not going by the charter. The charter is a book that was written and voted on by the people. We can't change the charter. You have to appoint a charter committee and then let it go before the people. I see a lot of things. They're not having public, open public sessions before they raise water bills. You know, there are a lot of things that we are doing wrong. And there are a lot of things you may be doing right. But today I say, I want to go back give me 4 years. Well, I just want 4 years. Every person, should have, I want to generate where every person up there, every department head has a assistant.
Thank you so much. What?
Thank you. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for allowing me this opportunity to share this time with these candidates. And I'm running for re-election to continue the job that we're doing right now. If you drive around the city of Muskegon Heights, you're seeing the improvements that are being done, and like never before. We have more activity that's happening right now here in the city of Muskegon Heights. I'm also running to continue to be a fighter for you, because when situations occur like the closing of Muskegon Family Care, you don't duck and hide and say, okay, they already said they're closing, so I'm cool with that. No, you stand up there, you make meetings and you fight, and you get that building saved. And that's exactly what we did, because it was closed, but we had some of our very own leaders saying it's okay. And even at our state level, saying that it's okay for this building to close, I said, no, we're gonna save this building, and thank God for Mr. Oglesby coming forward, and I had never, ever met the man.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Can we give them a hand? All right, we want to thank you all for coming out tonight. We want to celebrate the devastating Eagles of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. Thank y'all for doing that. Also, 103.7 The Beat. And we also want to thank Pastor Guy and Christian Baptist Church for opening the doors. We're going to turn it over to Pastor Guy for closing remarks and benediction.
Thank you for coming. God bless you. Good night. You want me to do the benediction?